And you need to make birth control affordable. You need to make birth control affordable or free. So you're gonna do that. Oh my God, I was so sick yesterday. The thing is there 5 million Netflix. And yes, there's been 28 deaths that are sponsored. That's I mean, they have to report it even if it's once. But you don't stop for all. I'm very sorry that happened to the 28. Yeah. Keep taking aspirin.
Throwing girls 20 feet in the air, basically.
Yeah. I was impressed. There were two boys that were in the chairs. And I'm sure we saw some I was only there focusing on one.
Where was it?
It was something like something, and then there was one we went to up in
Middle school.
yeah, like a high school.
Probably the one little wheelchair.
No, we went to Biddeford.
I think they went to middle school. My husband's very sick. Middle school, like, yeah, I know. That's what you're saying. It would have been school affiliate.
There was something against flyers.
Really?
There, yeah.
Was it? Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah.
And then we went to some, or another one this one. I only heard the first time.
Were they in uniforms like that?
Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah. Those are the girls I coached.
So were you there?
No, not this one because I have other things going on in the winter season, but I coached them during the fall season. Yeah. I do their routines, I choreograph everything. So, yeah, it's fun.
Angela's thinking of being a teacher. Sonia's been a teacher all her life. Classroom assistant. So I've been a teacher.
I know, everybody that I've talked to that has been working in a school is like, camp counselor in the summer, and that's even more just working with the kids.
Sure. Keeping them engaged and all. Yeah. And then everything, of course, you're on the computer all the time, and everything's based on the computer. And then it's like differential teaching for different kids. So yeah, it's not like, here you go, this is how I teach it. You've got to like figure out, okay, how do I teach this child to get the concept?
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
You'd be a good teacher, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's
Got a lot of practice going on. It's very dark. How would you feel if we opened those? It just feels really dark. Oh, that's so cheery. Yay, thank you. You know that one too, right? They don't want to say that without too loud.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is not Nikki, obviously. She's the better looking one that will show up in a few minutes. My name is Brian Weston. Our service leader today is not going to be Laura. She is homesick, but Nikki is going to lead us through our service. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. We also want to welcome those joining on YouTube and encourage you to have a candle or chalice to light when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad you are here with us today. The theme for the month of April is resilience. We invite you to carry that theme with you as you are with us today and into your daily life when you leave here today. We strive to be a green sanctuary. It gives roots and wings to our vision of a world where all people build toward a sustainable future and make reverence, gratitude, and care for the living earth central to our lives. We want to acknowledge that our building sits on the unceded land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling as you leave the sanctuary. Our current COVID guidelines are on the back page. There will be a social hour in the parish hall after the service. Please join us.
Thank you, Paul. Gorgeous. Please join me in reading our chalice lighting words. The words are here on the wall. They're also in your order of service. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. We gather into this circle. We gather into this circle of care, to dream, to envision, to embody and achieve the compassion we dream, the justice we envision, the dignity of each in an ever-growing circle of love and justice. And now please stand as you're willing and join us in singing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which is a personal favorite of mine. I always have to be sure to turn it off so I'm not singing a big solo when the hymn comes on. Would you please turn and greet your neighbor?
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, choir.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Brian. Happy Easter. Happy Easter, Ben. We got all bright colors on.
Happy Easter. Yeah.
Easter parade. Easter parade. Oh, Easter parade.
And before you get too comfortable, we have a tradition here at the Saco and Biddeford UU Church. It's our Easter parade. And this year it's going to be led by our beloved Brian Dustin. So if you'd like to be a part of the parade, come out, follow Brian around the sanctuary, and then back to your seat. Take it away, Paul.
There you go.
Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Yonder come day, oh my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Sun is a rising in my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Yonder come day, oh my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Sun is a rising in my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Yonder come day, oh my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Sun is a rising in my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Yonder come day, oh my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking. Sun is a rising in my soul.
This is the time in our service when we invite people to share what is in their hearts, whether it's a great joy or a deep sorrow. It is not a time for announcements or political statements. If you wish, please come forward to light a candle. Tell us your name if you'd like, and share your joy or sorrow with us if you choose to do so. Please hold the mic straight in front of you, parallel to the floor, and speak clearly into the mic so you can be heard through the sound system.
We have a joy. David's granddaughter, Maddie, is graduating in May with an associate's degree in criminal justice. And then in June, she's graduating from high school.
Wow.
Good morning. My name is Peggy, and today I light a candle in remembrance of my mother who passed away 2 years ago today.
Good morning, I'm Betsy. 2 candles lit this morning. One for our neighbor Nicole, a young woman who's been battling cancer and her treatment is not working for her. So sending her love to her and her family. And the other is for my son John, who lost his job, is out interviewing. He's pretty much a go-getter, but in the tech field, it's kind of iffy. So please send him good energy. Thank you.
My name is Anne. This candle is for anyone who is healing from anything. My recent surgical experience has left me very humbled by the healing process and how long it takes. I'm doing well, and I hope that you all will be if you are in the healing process someday soon.
I'm lighting one last candle for the joys and sorrows that have not been spoken. Let us take a moment to hold what we have heard in our hearts.
There, can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go. Another favorite part of the service. If there were little kids here, which I don't see today, I would be inviting them to come up and sit with me here on the stairs. If there are any other little kids that would like to come up, you're certainly welcome. And if any little ones are joining us from home, you're welcome too. And just imagine that you're sitting here with Brian and me.
Turn the page, turn the page.
Calm down now. This is a lovely little book, right keeping in our theme of resistance. This is called Sometimes People March.
And then April.
And then May. Then you may sit there and listen to this, all right? We didn't rehearse this. Sometimes ants march. Sometimes bands march. And sometimes people march. Marching is something people do together when they want to resist injustice or when they notice the need for a change. People march for many reasons. People march for the things they care about and the people they love. People march for the health of their bodies and their communities and the world. People march for the freedom to love and live and learn. Sometimes people carry signs to share their stories of resistance. And there's quite a variety of signs here. Yeah. People resist with meetings. They resist by standing up or sitting down or taking the knee. It is not always easy. Feet get tired, arms get tired, hearts and hopes get tired. Sometimes problems seem too big or too complex. But we do not march alone. Ants are stronger together. Bands are louder together. People are more powerful together. Sometimes from feelings of fear or anger or injustice comes the hope for change. Sometimes great change starts small with a brave question. Maybe your question. A question that calls people together. And together, we find the courage to march.
That was a good book, said Nikki.
Thank you, little Brian. You can go back to your seat now. He says I shouldn't have asked. So please stand and join us with hymn 26, Holy, Holy, Holy. Be seated. And Lori sends her greetings, and she's very sorry not to be here on this icy cold traditional New England Easter. So again, please spare Lori some thoughts and prayers for quick recovery. Oh. This reading today is by Wendell Berry. And it's kind of a long one, but it's a good one. It's called Manifesto. Love the quick profit, the annual raise, vacation with pay. Want more of everything ready-made. Be afraid to know your neighbors and to die. And you'll have a window in your head. Not even your future will be a mystery anymore. Your mind will be punched in a card and shut away in a little drawer. When they want you to buy something, they will call you. When they want you to die for profit, they will let you know. So friends, every day, do something that doesn't compute. Love the Lord. Love the world. Work for nothing. Take all that you have and be poor. Love someone who doesn't deserve it. Denounce the government and embrace the flag. Hope to live in that free republic for which it stands. Give your approval to all you cannot understand. Praise ignorance, for what man has not encountered, he has not destroyed. Ask the questions that have no answers. Invest in the millennium. Plant sequoias. Say that your main crop is the forest that you did not plant, that you will not live to harvest. Say that the leaves are harvested when they have rotted into the mold. Call that prophet. Prophesy such returns. Put your faith in the 2 inches of humus that will build under the trees every 1,000 years. Listen to carrion. Put your ear close and hear the faint chattering of the songs that are to come. Expect the end of the world. Laugh. Laughter is immeasurable. Be joyful, though you have considered all the facts. And so long as women do not go cheap for power, please women more than men. Ask yourself, will this satisfy a woman satisfied to bear a child? Will this disturb the sleep of a woman near to giving birth? Go with your love into the fields. Lie down in the shade. Rest your head in her lap. Swear allegiance to what is nighest your thoughts. As soon as the generals and the politicos can predict the motions of your mind, lose it. Leave it as a sign to mark the false trail, the way that you did not go. Be like the fox who makes more tracks than necessary, some in the wrong direction. Practice resurrection. So these are Lori's words today that I'm sharing. It's Easter. If the fancy hats hadn't given us away, we are present together on the morning of resurrection, new possibility and awakening, rebirth of daffodils and souls, renewing of spirits. It's a mystical time. For Christians, they have come through Good Friday, the death, and the Saturday in limbo to arrive at this joyful, hopeful time. Other traditions are still in liminal mystical times. We're still in Passover week, and Ramadan is still happening, for instance. Today, we're celebrating the tradition of Easter and the concept of resurrection overlaid by the theme of resistance. Even more synchronous for today is the Vespers activity inspired by Reverend Nikki, that's me. She has encouraged us to use the Lenten time frame to explore our principles, which has been happening on Thursday evenings. We've had some really, really interesting and very rich discussions about our principles. So it's not too late if you want to join us for the 7th principle this Thursday night. This week in synchronicity with Easter and resurrection and resistance, we explored the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Lori says, I don't mean to tell tales or talk out of school, but part of the conversation lingered on how big this principle feels right now with all that's going on in the world and in people's lives. I think people hoped that all of the work that has gone before us in our own lives and in the movements and causes that we have participated in before us would have resolved some of the hurt and anger and vitriol that we're experiencing in this current time. Given the war in Ukraine, the war on women's bodies and war on gender expression, and the lack of war on violence and gun control, people, and let me speak for myself, and I speak for myself as well as Lori, I feel a bit discouraged. We are truly in challenging times, sometimes frightening. I don't want to put words out there to capture it all because I do not want incarnate things by naming them on this resurrection morning. I do want to say that I have heard discouraging words through discouraged voices. On the radio, through the paper, even on TikTok. And even here, believe it or not, church attendance, oil prices, heating systems, pledges, volunteers, tough topics, not just for our church. All churches are challenged at this time, and sometimes I believe that we get so wrapped up in those conversations that we forget our hopeful words. We lose sight of the messages our traditions originally gathered around to help order and orient people's lives. As UUs, I think sometimes we forget our principles. I'm so pleased that Reverend Nikki created a Vespers during the season of Lent for us to come together to contemplate our principles. Something noted this past Thursday is that this particular principle doesn't seem to be discussed as much as others. I can only speculate why. It's big. It feels beyond the bubble of what I can do, what we can do in our own ecosystems. Sure, we can vote, but the powers and principalities move with the extraordinary forces of money and greed that feel immovable to our singular selves. And we still have our part to do. Today is Resurrection Sunday. It's Easter. The metaphor or the reality of death and resurrection of the living God, depending on what you believe, is amongst us. We are gathered here to sing and shout and parade around in frilly hats because a new day is dawning. We're beginning again. We're made whole in our brokenness because the one who was broken was made whole again. Take a look outside. The world is screaming this message. The crocuses are sprouting out in front of the church. There's light past 7 p.m. Yes, that's a good one. This week it's going to be 65 to 70 degrees, and I can't wait. The earth is renewing herself in the northern hemisphere as she does every year. We're turning our soils, nurturing our seedlings, packing away some of our sweaters, and putting the snow boots in the basement. We're even considering putting our screen door in at my house. In spite of climate change and catastrophes, there is still the promise of rebirth and renewal in all the ways we experience nature. There will always be rebirth and renewal in nature. God bless you. We are too small to change that, and we still have our part to do to be stewards of creation. I was reminded of the words by Unitarian clergyman Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. The something I ought to do, I can do. And by the grace of God, I will do it. And I'm sure that many of you have heard that quote in one iteration or another, and sometimes this one thing becomes a movement, a cause, a march, and sometimes it changes a community, a people, the world. Easter reminds us of our responsibility to pay it forward for the gifts and graces we've received, or maybe pay it back. To recognize the wrongs of our religion's expression and make manifest the resurrection. To resist the easy, accepted assumptions that were and are handed to us. A remarkable thing happened on March 30th. The Vatican issued a statement that the doctrine of discovery, a papal bull issued in the 1500s that declared that all lands existing in non-Christian territories were subject to be taken by Christians, and all natives living on them were to be converted to Christianity. And the quote here, did not adequately reflect the equal dignity and rights of indigenous peoples, and have never been considered expressions of the Catholic faith. The Pope repudiated the 3 papal bulls issued in the late 1400s and early 1500s that became the basis of racially oppressive land laws that were crafted in North America and are still in place in US, America, and Canada today. The Vatican said that these bulls are BS. I'm not going to say it. That they don't honor indigenous people, and it is wrong not to honor them. While some say this repudiation doesn't go far enough, many of the advocates of the proclamation say that it will inspire examination of the colonizing land laws that have been oppressive toward indigenous people. Opening up the conversation on a worldwide level will inevitably begin the process of recognizing the codified racism and spawn the deconstructing energy needed to reform land laws, repatriate indigenous people to their homelands, resurrect right relationship with those whose lands and resources our people took without restraint or remorse. I can guarantee that religious and political action took a great deal of political advocacy. And I can also guarantee it started with a few people here and there way back when, and now have conversations about world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Rosa Parks didn't just sit down on a bus and start a movement. People had ideas and talked in church basements, and God bless you, and formed resistance groups and staged that bus incident. It started with one or a few, and then it grew. That one thing. Resurrection exists by virtue of us identifying that one thing and doing it. Today, we've changed the language of our opening words to say that we exist on the unceded land of the Wabanaki Confederation. Unceded. It's a small thing that says a lot. That we recognize our privileged status of abiding on land that is not ours. We are strong enough to name such things and sit in the discomfort of the history of our forebears, written as the so-called winners in a battle over land that was transformed into a racialized, colonized land grab that oppressed people for centuries and oppresses people still. We are naming it. We're researching it, seeking wisdom from the indigenous people around us. We are sitting in discomfort, which is counterculture, I will point out, to be resurrection people. It's not a quick process with a roadmap to tell us where to go or how to proceed. We're first challenged to name it, recognize it. Next, we have to sit with it for a while. It's uncomfortable and difficult to hear tough things and not be able to act to restore comfort right away. We need to realize that knee-jerk action to respond are more often than not reactions to comfort ourselves, rather than restore justice to people who have been wronged or harmed. The call is to make space for those who have been harmed so that they can identify the way forward on their own behalf. It is a parallel track. Researching, learning about history through a different lens. Imaging the car accident looked like how the car accident looked from the other side of the street. Changing vantage points can change the whole picture of who is at fault or what has caused the thing to happen. Make space for those difficult vantage points and sit in them until truth emerges, until the new direction emerges, until resurrection happens. A big thing happened on March 30th. It didn't happen without the millions of little things that came before making the pathway clear. Small things are happening in these walls that will begin to change the course of things for us as individuals, as a church, as a community, and for the larger community. It's true with Green Sanctuary 2030 and with the upcoming 8th principle. The research, the discomfort, the difficult conversations are all a part of it. We don't change with a quick jerk. Renewal and rebirth often happen when we resist what is easy and what we have come to accept as truth. Easter is an embodied holy day. When the rock is rolled back and he isn't in the tomb and his body isn't present, it would seem like we've lost him. The Son of God, the King of the Jews, who was hailed as Messiah, couldn't even forego his own demise. What a moment of despair for those living in colonized oppression in the Middle East at the dawn of the new era. Their hope for liberation and new beginnings snuffed out on a piece of wood. Their despair turned to heckling. Those who had only hoped, not believed, shouted disparaging words as he heard his last sounds on earth. Not only did he die, but his body was not there when the women came to wash him and do the sacramental work of preparing his body. When they learned from the gleaming white angels that he had been resurrected just as he said he would be, he came back to us. He came back to us. He came back for us. Perhaps literally to some, metaphorically to others, he came back for renewal, rebirth, rehabilitation, reordering, reconnecting. He did the one big, huge, impossible thing so that we could all do our things. Resist the temptation to give up and become despondent. If nothing else, resurrection equals hope. And it is our duty to hope. We have principles, we have each other, we have our Easter bonnets. On this Resurrection Sunday, may we also claim as our own the words of Edward Everett Hale. I am only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. The something I ought to do, I can do. And by the grace of God, I will. He is risen. Hallelujah. Amen. Oops.
Thank you, Miss Nikki. That was nice. When we gather together as a community, we bring the gifts of ourselves, our hearts and spirits, our time and energy, our talents and skills to support the work of this church here within our walls and out in the larger community. We also bring our gifts of generosity, giving of what we have so that the work of the church may continue. As always, half of our offering today will be sent out into the larger community to support the work of an agency or organization that is making a difference in our world. This month we are sharing our offering with York County Community Action. If you are watching from home on YouTube, donations may be made by clicking the PayPal link in the video description, or checks may be mailed to UUCSB, 60 School Street, Saco. Please be generous as the ushers collect this morning's offering.
Join me as we extinguish our chalice. You'll find the words in the order of service. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths, today, tomorrow, and always. Now, please join me in singing hymn number 268. Become aware of hands that you are holding, their warmth, their texture, their weight. As an infant, these same hands. As a child, these hands. And now these hands are the tangible link that connects us to one another. These hands have worked and will work to make this world a better place.
It's a little rough start, but we made it. I'm saying, all of a sudden, I